Well, it's been a busy old week this week on the modelling front. Lots has happened this week, so much to talk about. So we better crack on with it. Welcome to Model Kit Stuff. Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff and welcome to this week's Table Talk. Wow, we've got so much to talk about. But first of all, thank you very much, all of you new subscribers, for joining the channel. We've had 300 subscribers in the last 28 days, or actually more than 300 subscribers. So a massive thank you and welcome to the channel. Now, if you are one of the new subscribers and you've not seen this before, in Table Talk, what we do is we talk about what's happening this week, what happened during the week, what's coming up, how we're getting on with the builds, all sorts of things we can talk about in here, and sometimes we go a little bit off topic and cover some other bits and pieces as well. It's the opportunity to interact with the channel a little bit more and find out what's going on. And sometimes we talk about things that then don't happen until 2-3 months further down the line. So, for example, I announced the Scharnhorst build here, and then we put the trailers out a fair bit later than that. So this is the place to find out what's happening at Model Kit Stuff. If you're an existing subscriber, thank you very much. Thanks for joining the program today. It's nice to see you, and you're always welcome, as you know. So, lots to talk about. Let's start with what happened this week, kicking off with the Monday video. So the Monday video this week was the visit to the Leyland Commercial Vehicle Museum. Now, the Monday slot is always a little bit niche. It's something that will be interesting to some, but not others. So it's the place where we put product reviews, tool reviews, that sort of thing. Sometimes I'll put first impressions in of very small things like a box of figures or something like that. So it's quite an eclectic mix on a Monday, and it captures all of those sort of weird and wonderful things that don't have a spot of their own every week, if you like. And they tend to be shorter videos and that sort of thing. So the visit to the truck museum, some people absolutely loved it. Like me, there's a subscriber to the channel who lives virtually around the corner from me, and he's never been to it, just like I hadn't. And I've lived here now for 8 years, and in fairness, I had been down once and they were in the process of redoing the museum, and I looked in and the only thing that was in there was an 80s TV detector van, which strangely actually isn't in the museum now for some reason. So I had attempted to go before, but it wasn't really open. You could just go to the cafe and nothing much else. So it was really lovely to go around, really nicely laid out, and everything in that museum works except for the one First World War traction engine artillery puller thing, which was, it was huge, and it was lovely to look at, and my daughter and my granddaughter were captivated by it. But yeah, it's a really nice place. If you're ever in the northwest of UK, it's worth it. It's about half a day, I would reckon. But from there, there's lots of other things in the vicinity you could go and do. You can go up to Southport or Blackpool from there. Neither of those are more than half an hour away. So there's lots of things you could do and fit that in. So yeah, so 5 minutes from my house, never been before. So on Wednesday we had the last of my Wingnut Wings kits to review, and I actually recorded it ages ago at the start of the summer, and so when there was this sort of wave of releases of Wingnut Wings kits, and I think what they'd been doing is that they had a load of kits. This is how, I don't know this for sure, but this is what I suspect has happened. So I don't know this for sure, but what I suspect has happened is they've had a load of kits manufactured, they had stock, and either they've had to print boxes or instructions or something like that, because the second wave is bagged up differently than the other wingnut wing kit that I had, which obviously is the Gota. So the Gota, it was all in individual bags in the box, but the second wave seemed to have all the individual bags then repackaged. So it's almost like they were in containers, packed up as this is what kit it is, so that the individual bags of frets wouldn't get lost. And then at a later date, they've gone into boxes and had the instructions put in and what have you. So I suspect something like that has gone on with the second wave, and it would have been part of dissolving the assets of Wingnut Wings. Now, Nigel has said recently that he thinks Wingnut Wings is still going. So, don't know. Usually, when they wind it up, that's it. They wind it up. But the website is still there, and it may be that they're keeping the company open on paper just so they can maintain the website and copyright. I don't know. I'd love to know what's happened to the rest of the tooling. I'd like to think that the owners of Wingnut Wings have been able to retain it, but I also know that the material they use, the tooling material for that, is worth a lot of money. And if they had debts and they, ultimately they closed because they couldn't balance the books when New Zealand government withdrew subsidies. If they had debts, they might well have had to liquidate their assets to cover the debts. Who knows? Certainly I don't, but there you go. So my last Wingnut Wings kit, it got some modest interest. Quite often I find with first impressions, they'll either absolutely take off because there's not many reviews of that particular kit, or it's a very popular kit, or they're a slow burner and they build up over time. So it's interesting, when I did the Revell Platinum Edition 1 to 350 Tirpitz, that went off like a rocket. So did the Revell 172 Submarine Platinum Edition, went off like a rocket. I've reviewed some other German ships, and we grow onto those. So I can never tell. I've said this before. I never know how they're gonna respond. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, we had a small update on the GMC truck, which you can see here. It hasn't progressed much from that update video, but I'm recording this Friday, so I recorded it and then sent out the update yesterday. So that's pretty much the only thing that's happened since then. So I'm hoping to forge ahead with that now, because the back end is all fairly simple construction until you get to the gun and there's a bit more photo etch on. But so far, it's been quite an enjoyable build. There's only major issue so far has been the bonnet that we talked about in the Thursday video. So if you've not seen that and you're planning to build that kit, you must watch update 3, which for some reason says update 2 at the start. I go in and I change the number, and I'm absolutely sure I did it. And usually when I've finished editing a video, I go right back to the start and just recheck that the start is running well. And I must have done that, and sometimes you make the change and the software that I use does the change, and then you move off and it undoes it. Somehow it's not embedded the change or something. I don't really know, but it can have these little tricks that it plays on you from time to time. So, but my bad for not checking. Anyway, if you go into 3, I talk about what the issue is with the fit on the bonnet. It's quite a big issue, and how I've gone about resolving it, which might give you a steer on how you might want to resolve it. So yeah, I'm hoping we'll motor along with that a little bit this week. We will have to see. I'm not getting a lot of spare time. I'm putting some extra hours into work at the moment because it's really, really busy. So we will have to see. We will have to see how we get on. It is very much sort of filling time at the moment, sort of build in between. Or my glue's drying on that. I'll just knock that together, type of thing. So yeah. Now then, that it's also taken up my Saturday morning that I was doing on Fly. So that's important. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So yeah, that's where we are with the GMC truck. And then yesterday, which is tonight my time right now, because I'm actually filming this before I start work, and then probably finish filming it when I've finished work, because we are now our back end of season 5 on The Walking Dead, me and Daisy at lunchtime on a Friday. What was I going to say? Friday was Queen Mary 2. So that gets you up to pretty much where I am, other than lots of photo etch. So I don't know when the next Queen Mary 2 will come out, because there's not much filming content in bend and glue and paint the photo etch, bend and glue and paint the photo etch. There are some things to talk about, like when we come to do all the deck chairs, for example. My way of working with deck chairs is to fold as much as you can on the fret. So we'll talk about that. Or alternatively, make a jig so you can do loads at once. You don't want to be doing them all individually. Absolute nightmare. So there's stuff to do, but it's not enough to make an hours long build video. So you might not see some Queen Mary 2 for a little while. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put the last decals on and bits, just any bits of interest that we can plug in there. We'll do that, and that will help. That will help fill up some video time. But until I'm sure that I've got a good quality video of about an hour, I won't put anything more out until it's ready. So that means we're relying on Ferret and on me finishing the Goto, but we'll talk all about that in a second. So that is what happened this week, gets you up to date. So if you missed any of those, please do go and check them out. They're all interesting videos, and there are some lovely trucks in the commercial vehicle. Even though it's in Leyland, they're not all Leyland trucks, although a lot of them are in local livery. So Boca is one of our local haulier companies based in Preston. So there was some trucks by them. There was a Frederick's ice cream van, which is local. Best ice cream in the world, just happens to come from Chorley. Would you believe it? Yeah, they have it. Some nice videos, but as all those videos are running and the week's progressing, all sorts of stuff happened, and Wednesday was a massive, massive day. So let's talk about Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I got 2 deliveries. Not unusual for me to have a couple of deliveries a week related to the hobby, but these were massive. So the first one was a large box from Amati, and that was the second thing that went out on Wednesday as a video. We did a live stream, what's in the box. So we had a look at what's in the Amati box. So if you didn't see the live stream, didn't catch the live stream, go and catch it, because and watch the live chat, because it's really interesting to see how people interacted with this kit, and we'll talk more about that in a sec. So Amati, one of the leading manufacturers of wooden kits, they've reached out to me and they've sent me some products for me to review. Now, I'm not getting paid. I get to keep the products. I don't know whether they'll send me more stuff in the future. Might depend on how well I review them. Who knows? But my only commitment here is to review them and to review them honestly. And I absolutely will do that. Now, I like Amati products. So when I say, look, this is good, I mean this is good. So I'm going to be filming videos on all the stuff that we sent. So without spoiling what's in the video a little bit, I got this kit, and I got some tools, and I got some material. Now, I talked about them in the live stream, about what I think they can be useful for if you're not a wooden modeler. So what would you use sail material for if you build armoured fighting vehicles and dioramas. Well, go and catch that video. I tell you what I think, but I will do a video on this and we'll have a play with the material and show you what we can use it for. So I have got some of this as it happens, but I primarily use it for replacing vac form sails. So to get some more is handy, because that 100 Sol Royale, that needs quite a lot of replacement sails. But it's really handy for other things, and we'll talk about that when we do the video. I also got one of these. It's called the Gripper. You will have seen me use this many times if you've been following the channel for some time. I use them in my builds. Most recently, I've used it on the Goater build. When the Goater is upside down on its wings, it's this tool that is holding the wings of that massive 132 aircraft wing assembly, and they are huge wings. You've seen it. That's what's holding it, and it's heavy enough to do it. It's got the weight. It's got the grip. Doesn't damage the model. It's a great little tool. So I've had one for about 8 years or so. So I can talk with authority. I do have some suggestions for not improvements but additionals for this. So we'll mention that when we film it. And then I got this, which is called the Master Cut. And as you can see, I've already filmed this one. So I did that yesterday. So we assembled it. We have a play with it. We do some chopping of different materials with it. I compare it to the one I currently use, which is going back in the attic because this is better. And then I got this kit. Now, this kit is really, really interesting if you're a plastic modeler, especially if you're a plastic modeler who's always fancied doing a wooden ship kit, but never has. So let's talk about this for a minute. So got this on Wednesday in the Amati box. And this is a relatively new kit. It's also a relatively new concept as well. So I think there is a second model that is similar to this, as in the hull is plastic. So that for years Amati have had a model of this, the America's Cup 1934 Endeavour. They've had this out for years, but the hull is wood, and you have to plank it like you do any other wooden kit hull. In this instance, what they have done is they've given you a hull that is plastic, and then from the deck up, it's wood. So that's much simpler process, because you're not having to bend planks or form planks or taper planks or any of that sort of stuff. You're just cutting things to length and gluing them down. Nice and simple. So I wouldn't say it was an entry-level kit from having had a bit of a look around in it. I think you've got to have built a few kits to get your head around some of the bits and pieces, but it's not far off. And it's certainly, if you've never built a wooden ship before, but you've built one or two plastic models, you could tackle this no problem. And I think there is a picture, there we go. And there is a picture there of the hull. You can see, so it's a single piece plastic hull like you might get in a trumpeter kit, for example. The only thing you have to add on is the rudder, which is a piece of plywood that you have to just shape. Then you glue that on, and then you paint it. I think they recommend a Tamiya blue for that. You've got a little build cradle stand that you can paint up, and then the rest of it is wood, brass castings, so it's all plug and play pretty much after that. A little bit of tidy up here and there. You've got to sew the sails, and you've got some simple rigging. So it's a simple introduction into rigging, into time blocks, and so on and so forth. There's not many blocks in here. Lots of brass fittings on it. Will look really, really nice when it's done. And it says, it's a high quality wooden deck. So you've got a false deck, and then you glue the planks on top. Metal and wood fittings, cloth sails, mast and rigging, building instructions and plans. It says plans, but actually it's just a single sheet of plans, which are one-to-one scale, so even the plans are easy to navigate. So I think this is a really great concept, because there are some people I know don't build ships because they don't want the faff of all that planking, and this removes you from that. Now, I get that this perhaps isn't everyone's cup of tea, but if this does well, I'm sure Matty will think about how they could use plastic hulls in other ways. So you could use plastic hulls that you then plank over instead of a first layer of planking, or you could use plastic hulls below the gun port level on a ship, and which would make the planking simpler, where you've got less tapering to do. So there's all sorts of things that potentially they could do in the future. I'm not saying they're going to do any of those things. I really wouldn't know, but there's lots of potential now they've dipped their toe in. So I really like the idea, and I want to know if people want to see me build this, because on a Saturday morning, as a general rule, I do some work on the Fly, HMS Fly, which is Victory Models, which is part of a Matty. At the moment, I've paused that because I'm doing the Jim Stein build, but then we'll be back on there. But if there's enough people interested in this, because it should be a relatively quick build, then this could be my Saturday morning build, and we'll chuck this out and take a view of it. I think I'd quite like to do that, but only if other people are interested in it. If not, we'll do a first impressions, and I'll find a gap and build it in the near future anyway, instead of one of my plastic kits possibly. But with Sean Horse coming along in the pipeline, and that being a big build, we'd have to do this instead of a truck or an aeroplane at some point. So when we did the box opening, there was a bit of interest, and I asked that exact question, and people were saying, yeah, actually, just pause your Fly and get this out so we can see it. So when I do the first impressions video, I will ask that question, and I'll ask the question here. So if people want to put down in the comments, yeah, I'd be interested to see how that comes together, because it's a plastic hull and it's a new concept, then I'm up for doing it. And we'll ask the question again in the first impressions, which will capture some people that don't necessarily watch the Table Talk video. Not sure why they wouldn't, but they don't. And maybe haven't even come across the channel before, but come across the review. So let's get people's thoughts. It's a 1:180 scale, so the height of the kit is pretty much, when built, is pretty much the height of this box, because it's got a tall mast. So yeah, I think quite a pretty little display piece, sort of thing that you see on fireplaces and window ledges and that sort of stuff. Because it's not got yard arms sticking out, it's quite narrow, so it's easy to display on a narrow shelf, whereas more period ships have these big wide yard arms with the sails on. So yeah, it's a pretty kit, and I'm gonna try and film this over the weekend. We'll see how time goes. But actually, the other thing I should say about this, from an entry-level point of view, as a wooden ship goes, I mean, I know it's a boat, but as a wooden ship kit, it's actually quite cheap. It's about 80 euros, £80, something like that. So that is really cheap for a wooden ship kit. Yeah, very, very interesting. And I've had a look at the hull, and it just needs the mold seam sanding off, and you're ready to go. Brilliant. So yeah, that's what came along. We'll put that back in view. So that was one delivery. The other delivery was this. So let's talk about that. So this has come from Andrew 3D Model Space, and it's a build jig. Now this is the 1:351. It's completely built up, you can see here. Some of you will remember I did a review of a wooden one, which was for a 1:350, somewhat smaller than this, and it was a load of junk. This is the opposite. This is really, really cool. Well thought through, very, very clever bit of ingenuity. So I've bought two of these, a 1:351 and a 1:200 one. So don't think there's ever a ship I'll ever build that I can't put into one of these cradles now. Very cleverly thought out. I mean, you're seeing this here and you think, well, that would cover most 1 to 350 scale ships. I mean, you could put a 1 350 Yamato in there, no issues. Well, actually, you can extend it as well. So, you know, it's extendable on both arms. So you can make it even longer. It's just so flexible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a first impressions focused on the 1 to 200. So they come in these boxes like that, flat packed, and you have to build it up. So what we'll do is we'll build it up, then we'll test it with my Scharnhorst hull, and we'll perhaps test the 1 350. Because I think you can, by the way it closes up, and you can take these out and replace them with extenders, which are narrower. You could probably build some 1700s on here as well. I'm not sure all of them, but I have had some thoughts on that. And the build instructions for this are actually on YouTube, and I'm going to build it and put some tips in, because when I built it, I found a couple of little things that aren't included in the build instructions, which I think are probably useful. So we'll build the 1 200. I'll share with you my build tips, having built one, and then away we go. So I keep saying this pretty much every week at the moment. That's the last thing I need for the 1 200 Scharnhorst. Honestly, well, I got me decals. I bought some extra decals. They've turned up this week as well from Peddenhaus in Germany. So yeah, just make sure I've got everything covered off. So yeah, I've got my build stand. So I'm looking forward to building that and reviewing that. And again, we'll do that this weekend, and might be something I do tonight while the live stream's running. So live stream premiere, I should say. So yeah, that came today, and I was really excited to get it. Been looking forward to it. They are not cheap, and I got hammered on import duty, £78 import duty. So from that point of view, it's not an option that you buy on a whim. You think about it and make some decisions. And I ended up not getting some of the optional extras for the 1 350 one, just to keep within a budget I wanted to spend. I can always pick them up later on. But yeah, it's a great little tool. Comes with some little extras that you can swap out, so you can do all sorts of different sizes, but we'll explain it all in the video. So yeah, that is my deliveries this week. So what did we get up to on the bench? Well, what we got up to mainly was Gotha. I had a real stab at finishing it at the weekend, didn't quite manage it. And then, of course, you've seen an update of how far we got to with the GMC truck. So I'm now currently working on the propellers. So you can see we've got the light wood painted in there. So that now needs to be, I'm going to go over with the crystal orange and tint it. Then we're going to seal it with a gloss coat. Then we're going to mask it. Then we're going to do the dark wood laminations on it. Then we're going to tint that. Then we're going to gloss coat that. Then we'll take the masks off, gloss coat it all again. So we've got a nice even coverage. Put the decals on, gloss coat it again, so it'll be really nice and shiny. And then we've got to work on the tips, because the tips are actually brass on this. So different to all the other propellers that I've done in the Gotha build, showing you techniques and what have you. So yeah, it's really the last thing to do. I've got to glue down the front machine gun, and I've got a couple of rigging bits left to do. So I will finish it this weekend. I need it done and out of the way. It's so close to done. I'm not going to show it yet. If you watch the box opening, right at the end of the box opening, I just bring it out for a quick view so you can see it with its tail on and stuff. And it looks pretty cool. But I don't want to handle it more than I need to right now. So you'll just have to wait. I think the next Gotha video could well be the last one. Yeah. Whereas with the ferret video, I've just uploaded this morning part 3, so that's ready for next week, and I think we might have one more, or possibly a squeeze, 2 more. What I don't, it feels like it's probably 1.5, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to tackle it yet. And I haven't got any material from Queen Mary 2. So what we've got to do then is do something that is going to be fairly quick and give me some material. Now, I did say a few weeks ago that if I haven't got something for a Saturday, I'll just do a live stream instead, and that would still be my plan. But I might, the plan has always been to do the Bowfighter, which is started and ready to go. So we could crack on with the Bowfighter and get some material content for that. Or we could crack on with the Matchbox Shah-B diorama, which is very, very quick to build and just concentrate on the painting. But I'm not sure how much video content I'll get out of that. So you've got to balance effort with viewing time. So doing a lot of painting, you talk about the technique and you do a bit, and then you show the end result, but you don't show the whole painting thing. It's just boring. It's not watchable. So actually what you'll end up with is probably a condensed single video for that, which might take 2-3 weekends to do. So I think my plan of getting the Bowfighter done before the Matchbox is probably the right thing, but what I might try and do is run them in tandem and get some extra video content out that way, and chip away at the Matchbox. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. So that means we'd have Saturday morning finishing the cracking on with the GMC truck, Sunday cracking on with doing the main build. So that, once the Gopher's finished, that's going to be Queen Mary 2 or the Bowfighter and the Matchbox kit. And then once the GMC truck's done, we will go back to the Fly. But by then, this video should be out as a first impressions, and we might have decided to crack on with that. So again, in the comments, tell me if you're interested to see me building this with it being plastic hull and something a little bit different, because a fair lot of people on the live stream were interested in it. I got to say, it surprised me a little bit. So yeah, absolutely. Let me know what you think, and we can sort something out one way or another. Okay, what's coming up in the week ahead? Okay, so Monday we have a book review. I've not done one of those for a little while, and it's all focused on how to build both the 148 and 172 Buccaneers from Airfix. So it's printed by Key Publishing, the people that do the Airfix Model World magazine. And they did a how to build guide, a bit like the Tamiya ones, but as you'll see in the video, better in my view. So catch that on Monday, especially if you've got a Buccaneer in your stash. You'll find it really, really interesting. So we've got a little review of that. And then on the Wednesday, we're going to look at first impressions. It's a Wood Wednesday. So it's the Speedy kit that we had on the table a little while ago. 3-4 weeks ago, was it? So we're going to do a first impressions of that wooden kit, which will be quite an interesting contrast to this one, because that's a full kit, full on wood hull and everything. So have a look at that. I think you'll find it interesting. It's a lovely, lovely kit from Vanguard Models. And then on the Thursday, we'll have another update on the GMC and see how far I actually got. Then on the Friday, we've got ferret number 3, which I've already mentioned, and we can plug away at that. So in ferret number 3, we're putting all the details on the outside of the hull, doing the exhaust. I show you how I go around opening up the exhaust. There's a fantail exhaust that's solid, and we need to sort that. A little bit of scratch building, minor stuff, but just to replace a part that's a little oversized, or modify it actually rather than replace it. So yeah, that's what we'll cover off in episode 3, and then that gets you back to here. So that's the current plan for next week. And then on the desk this weekend, as we said, we're going to absolutely finish the Gotha, even if I have to stay up all night to get it done. And then, so that'll be done. So next week, I might give you a preview of the finished thing, or I might make you wait till the video. I don't know yet. So I'm hoping this weekend we'll finish the Gotha, and maybe even get the Beaufighter out. Depends on how long it takes me, and I always underestimate it. And you might find on Monday I'm still trying to finish the propellers for all I know. But yeah, I'm trying to do each stage of the propellers, because there's lots of little stages you're putting on top of each other. So I'm trying to do one in the morning and then one in the evening to try and get through there. Because but if I don't get the propellers on till Friday, it doesn't really matter, does it? But then I can get that video edited and out, which would be nice. So yeah, I think that covers off everything that I needed to talk about. Busy old week, one way or another. Oh no, couple of other things. I'm forgetting myself. Right, firstly, how to support the channel. You support the channel by liking a video. You support a channel by watching a video. If you comment, that really helps, because that helps the algorithm. But you can financially support the channel because it's self-funded. I don't put money into it. The money comes from the revenue of the adverts primarily. But if you want to donate to the channel so that we can buy more kits for review or new products for review, then you can do that in 2 ways. Well, 3 ways actually. You can, on a live premiere, you can do a super fan, where you can donate £1 or £2 or £100 or whatever you want to give. And on the bottom of all my videos, you can hit super like, which basically does the same thing when it's not live. So you can do that, or you can go to the merch shop. The banner underneath the video will take you to the merch shop. So there's more than what you can see on the banner. There's all sorts of stuff, including this rather nice, very comfortable, I have to say, sweatshirt. There you can, I think they're making a change. YouTube are making a change. So if you watch the video through your mobile phone and possibly a tablet, but I'm not 100% sure about that, the link to the merch store is going to change to the heading of the video rather than being underneath it. So you'll have constant access to it. And in most videos, you'll get a little thing that pops up in the corner and says merchandise. Although on the last video, it wouldn't let me connect to the store for some reason, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But those are all the ways that you can support. There are some special people that did that last week, so let's give them a shout out. So Plastic Monkey, Model Monkey, and I'm going to make sure I get this right, Martin K 9249, massive thank you from me for your donations to the channel. Massively appreciated, really helpful. We're putting all that money in now into a pot that I will take to Telford, and we'll see what we can get from the money that we've generated from donations. So that might be interesting. Let's see what we can come up with from the Telford visit in November. So yeah, a massive thank you to you guys. It's always greatly appreciated. And if you want to contribute to the channel, if you like the channel or you enjoy a particular video or you've seen something interesting or helpful, you can hit that and I will give you a shout out here. I always see it. I get a separate email to say that this has happened. So I know exactly who's done it and when. The only thing I can't see is if you buy something from the merch store, but I know that there's been a purchase, but I don't know by who. So yeah, there you go. Right, I haven't done this for a little while, but I think we're a little bit overdue probably to do some shout outs. Now, as you all know, I like to support some of the smaller channels out there, because it wasn't that long ago I was a channel that was celebrating having 30 subscribers. But here we are now, and we're at approaching 7,000 subscribers, would you believe? Phenomenal. But there are people out there who are equally as good or better at making models than I am, and they need to be pointed out to people. So let's do that. This is some of the smaller channels that I've either come across recently or I follow and have never mentioned. So the first one is a channel called Pebble Creek Models. And currently he's building the Trumpeter 1200 Bismarck. He's doing a nice job of it, doing it with the Pontosk basic upgrade set, not the full advantage one. And he's also got wooden printed scale decks on there, I noticed. So I came in part way through his build. I know one or two of my subscribers are following him because I noticed them in the comments. But yeah, he's doing a really nice job. Interesting channel. So go and check him out. I'll try and remember to put a link in, but I sometimes forget when I'm editing, but I'll do my best. So yeah, Pebble Creek Models, go and check that out. Also like to shout out Anfield Road Layout in the Loft. Lee, he's a subscriber of mine, comes along to my live videos these days. Go and check him out. He also needs a few more subscribers to get to the 1,000. A lot of it's focused on railroad, but he does do models as well. He's working on a Tiger at the moment. He does a lot of live streams, and I know Moz, for example, was on his live stream this week. So it's worth checking out from a community point of view. Give the channel a bit of support. I'm probable that one or two of my subscribers are already following what he does. So yeah, quite an interesting little channel. So yeah, do check out him. Right, there you have it. I think that covers off this week. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a real joy this week. Lots of stuff going on. Was on Peter Oscale Modelling's live stream at the end of the week with Nigel and what have you. So yeah, there's lots going on in the modelling community at the moment. It's a great place to be right now. Thoroughly enjoying it, and I thoroughly enjoy it because of you guys that support the channel and make comments. It's great to chat to you all. So thanks very much for looking in. Have a great week. You enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye for now.